Everybody to the NFL Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. And of course, sometimes people are late to the show, Mark. But can you hear us, Coop?
Oh, what are you talking about? You're early.
Oh, we are live. It is 8:03. We just now came on the air. I want to remind everybody that
Mike,
the Grueling Truth is powered by...
Cut him some slack, Mike. He's doing another escrow account or something like that.
All right.
Thank you. Or he's watching a past episode of $1 Million Listing with Josh and those guys. So,
all right, Steve. But the Grueling Truth, I want to remind everybody, is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. I am your host for the NFL Pick'em Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host. First up, NFL beat writer Dan Kornhauser. How you doing, Dan?
Wow. What's up, boys? Another Wednesday, another night of picks. I love it. My favorite day of the week.
I told you, Steve, we shouldn't have any young guys on the show. They're just stupid.
When did he become an NFL beat writer? Is it an NFL beat off writer or what?
I mean, I could do that too, but I don't know if people want to watch that.
God.
We know. That's why he now works with us.
What are his NFL credentials on? He's got a Cleveland Browns Brady Quinn jersey on.
That's
and
right.
Some stupid hat on backwards.
Is that
it's got the logo of every team in the NFL.
Is he in the basement?
Yeah, his mom's basement. Tell your mom to get the meatloaf ready.
Mom, the meatloaf! We want it now.
All right, my other co-host, of course, he is probably the oldest man on this show. He was on the 1981 National Championship Indiana Hoosiers team combined with Isaiah for, what was that, 26 points in the championship
26
game?
points.
Help me welcome to the show, member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
I'm living life large. We got a bona fide NFL star on our show today.
Yeah, we're not well, I don't know. We're waiting on one, but while we're waiting on him, we have a former Miami Hurricane, a Denver Bronco. He protected John Elway during the AFC Championship game in Super Bowl 21, and then he became a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And, of course, whenever you became a Buccaneer in the 80s, your career ended shortly after that. Help me welcome to the show, Mark Cooper. What's up, Coop?
Hey, guys.
Hey, Coop, all I know is, Coop, the last time you were on the show, you didn't even claim to be a Buccaneer, but since then they've won a Super Bowl, they got Tom Brady, and now you got a mini helmet.
I know, and I pulled a hamstring jumping on that wagon.
Hey, Coop. Isn't it nice when you can take things and show them to these infidels about national championship rings and things like that?
Steve, do we want to go through this? Doesn't Steve look like a class ring, Coop? Aren't you glad you didn't win your ring like 6 years earlier?
Nowadays,
they look like a paperweight.
Oh, God, you can't wear them.
No, you can't. But, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the show off. I want to remind everybody real quick about the Grueling Truth jersey giveaway, which has got one more week. Let's go ahead and share that, if I can remember where I put everything.
You can even get a Denver Broncos shirt.
Yeah, you can get it with your own name on it, Coop.
Yeah, Coop.
Hey, I got a connection for that.
Yeah,
I got a connection for that.
There you go. So the Grueling Truth November giveaway, we've teamed up with PlayersBest.com to give away a custom team jersey to one lucky winner. To win, simply like the PlayersBest.com Facebook page, like this post, tag 3 more friends in the comments, and as a bonus, if you've got a Twitch account, when you go to Twitch, you can find more ways to win there. So make sure you check that out. All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's look ahead to all the week 14 games. And Coop, the way we do this now is a little bit different than the way we did back in the prehistoric days. We actually picked the games with the point spread. And believe it or not, Steve Risley, I mean, did he win last week there, Dan?
That he did. I was just finishing up the final totals. He got 9 right last week. Mike, you and I both got 8. So Steve maintains his lead.
No, I upped my lead.
Yeah, he maintains it and adds to it. Boom.
Adds to it.
He's now up 2 on me, and Dan, I don't think, has picked a game right yet this year. All right, we're going to start off with probably the game of the week. We've got the Rams. They're in L.A. again, the Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are favored by 2.5 points. Steve, who do you like here?
Rams are at the Cardinals. Oh, man. I'd say, what's the spread?
2.5, Steve. It says it on the screen.
All right.
Put your glasses on.
I'm just enamored with having an NFL football player on our show. We got some credibility tonight.
Oh,
We got to kind of be gentlemen and act nice. And
No, you
Hey,
don't.
hey, Coop, you know what Steve asked me? As soon as we got on here, before you got on, he says, does he still play?
With myself.
Hey,
Come on. All the guys that masturbate are on the bottom. Go ahead, Steve.
The very first youth football team I ever coached was the Denver Broncos.
No way.
Yeah, and I went to Fanatics, which isn't Fanatics. It was the NFL shop. Yeah. I ordered like a T-shirt for me and a T-shirt or sweatshirt for my wife. And to this day, I still get mail and emails from the NFL shop wanting me to buy more Denver Broncos shit.
Oh,
I said, you cocksuckers stole Peyton Manning from us and took another Super Bowl. It's the only way you go to one is get Peyton. So otherwise, you'd have been in the dumps since Elway left.
John did a hell of a job there now, didn't he?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you what, the Cardinals are red hot. Kyler Murray may be playing some of the best football in the league right now. I believe, Dan, they're pretty much injury-free right now, aren't they? Aren't the Cardinals pretty healthy?
I'm looking at the injury report right now. Arizona doesn't have anybody.
Yeah, see, here's the problem, Coop. Steve's got the lead, but if it wasn't for Dan telling him who's injured and who's not injured, he'd probably be about 15 games out.
No, I'm an idiot. I'll be the first to tell you I'm an idiot, but I'm also an idiot that's leading.
That's it.
Go figure that one out.
No.
Okay. Still the regular season, Steve. Make your pick.
Okay. I'm going to take the Cardinals in this game, only giving up 2.5. I think the Rams going on the road have not shown a lot, and I like the way they played last week. I thought they showed some resilience, came back. Stafford's looking good again, but I just think right now, until the Cardinals go out and have to face the Colts here in a couple of weeks, they're going to keep winning.
All right. I'm going to go with the Cardinals, too. I think this is a pretty easy pick. I think the Rams have issues. Coop, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. You know, it's amazing how they get Vaughn out of Denver, right? And they beef up the defense. They who else they got? They got a couple other guys, and the receiver.
Hopkins.
No, the guy from New York. You know, the one-handed catch guy.
Yeah,
Odell Beckham.
Odell Beckham.
Oh, the Rams. We're talking about the Rams. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have thought they would have improved. It's like they've gone backwards, right? Like team chemistry's not there or something. So yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals. I think they win by probably more than 3.
Now, Dan, you gave me a bunch of crap when I said that exact same thing like 3 or 4 weeks ago when they made the trade, but it looks like I'm right so far, Dan.
I didn't hate the trade. I don't hate the player. These things take a little bit of time, but Odell Beckham doesn't look like he's 100%. And he doesn't look like the electric wide receiver that he was.
It looks like he's collecting a nice paychecks. What he looks like,
pretty much.
Being Odell Beckham, like some other idiot I know that left Denver to go to Tampa Bay.
But I'm gonna go with Arizona in this one as well.
All right, next up, Pittsburgh at Minnesota. This is a tough game to pick, Coop, because Minnesota's probably more talented. But Pittsburgh's played a lot better as of late. Minnesota lost to the Detroit Lions.
That's right. Actually, Mike, you and I both picked the Lions in that game, so good shit.
Okay. Don't interrupt Coop when he's going to make a pick. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark.
You know, how do you lose to the freaking Lions, right? I mean, my Denver Broncos playing.
Hey, get this real quick, dude. Coop, you got to know this before you go on. Dan is a diehard Detroit Lions fan.
Oh my God. And you know the thing is, Dan or Coop, he doesn't even live in Detroit. He lives in New Jersey.
New York, damn it.
What?
Okay, whatever.
Sully me by saying
then you're paying too much state income tax if you live in New York instead of New Jersey.
You know, I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I mean, they fought pretty hard towards the end of the game last week. You know, I think Roethlisberger, if you can protect that guy, he's talking about leaving this year. I mean, that guy, if you protect any quarterback, they're going to be a lot better. Even a nanosecond worth more protection. You know, give him a clean pocket. If they can keep him somewhat protected, I'm going to go with the Steelers.
All right, Steve.
I agree with Coop. I think Tomlin this week put his foot down about how he's going to toughen up this football team. They had a full padded practice, which I didn't even know the NFL allowed them to do that in midseason.
Wow.
But they went at it, and he put his foot down. went a little Bobby Knight on everybody as much as you can in the chicken shit NFL in terms of players having to work for things. But I agree with Coop. I think when you protect Roethlisberger, he's still as good he's more than an efficient quarterback in the NFL. And Minnesota just is all over the map. I mean, they're certainly capable of winning this game. But I think Pittsburgh's in a dogfight. Minnesota's out of it now. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh also. The Vikings' run defense is terrible. They're a mess in the secondary. And on offense, they're going to be without Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. So to me, I hope I'm wrong here, of course, because I'm a Bengals fan, which is why I have Dan on, because that's the only thing worse than being a Lions fan. Well, maybe a Browns fan. But missing Thielen and Cook, I don't give Minnesota much hope here. And I think Mike Tomlin, as he showed last year, is a better coach with less talent, if that makes any any sense.
Mike. It makes a lot of sense.
So go ahead, Dan.
It's boring, but I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh as well, mostly because, like you guys said, Minnesota didn't look good at all last week against Detroit. I can't believe that they let the Lions win that. I was sitting in the bar, having some wings, watching the game. Ironically, sitting right across from a family of Vikings fans, a dad, a couple sons, and we were all on the edge of our seats. And I was pretty much reserved to the fact that the Lions were going to lose that game. I've seen it time and time again. They suck. But they shocked the world. They shocked the hell out of me, and they actually beat Minnesota. But that's a terrible look for Minnesota. Like you said, Thielen's out, Cook's out. Pittsburgh's rolling. Minnesota's lost 2 in a row. Let's go Pittsburgh.
All right. I don't know. I would say Pittsburgh is rolling.
I would say they're rolling, but they look better lately than they had, at earlier points.
Hey, remember this. Pittsburgh did tie the Lions, 2 weeks ago? So I don't think they're rolling too good. All right. Next up, we've got a rivalry game. The Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears. The Packers are favored by 12 points. This is a lopsided matchup. It looks like Andy Dalton's making a primetime start for the Bears. It doesn't matter who starts this game. The only thing that worries me here is the 12.5 points, but I'm going to go with the Pack, Coop. I don't see how you can go with the Bears in this unless you get the line up to about 16 or 17.
Hey, hang on, Mike. Is it 12 or 12.5? You only got 12 on our card.
It's 12.
It's 12.
Yeah, it's showing 12.5 on the.
All right, well, you said 12.5.
But still, you know what, Rodgers? I mean, that guy's just unbelievable, is he not? I mean, he just amazes me. Ceases to amaze me with all the controversy and all the anti-vax and all vax crap and all the bullshit that the press has pulled on him and everything else. I mean, he's just steady Eddie, shows up every week and just kicks butt. And then, his pinky toe thing. I mean, the guy's a stud. They're going to shoot it up and he's fine.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bears, and you guys know how I feel about Andy Dalton. I wish that guy would win, but it ain't going to happen this week. I don't think 12 points is. It's always a dangerous spread when it's 12 points, it's double digits. But if anybody can handle that, Packers certainly are one of the teams in the NFL that can. And I agree with his assessment of Rodgers, Aaron. I mean, he finds a way to focus on football when he gets on that field. And I don't think anybody other than maybe Brady does it better than he does in the NFL right now, just not being distracted and doing what he's going to do. So I'm taking the Pats and giving up the 12 points in this game.
Well, it's good with saying that about him, but I think the thing that strikes me about the Packers, Dan, is how good their defense has been, because Aaron Rodgers is always that. But the defense, I think, makes this team a Super Bowl contender.
Hey, by the way, what's up with the Florida State shirt?
I wore it for you. Actually, you can't slap me because you're in Colorado and I'm in Indiana, so you can't. See, you can't reach me. See, look at that, hit me right there. But hey, I got it because of one simple thing. My high school football team, we were playing a game in Panama City, and the marshals there had Florida State hoodies for like $9. So I'm not passing up a hoodie for $9. The only way I pass that hoodie up is if it says Ohio State, Alabama, or Kentucky. Go ahead, Dan.
Or Notre Dame. Well, no, you like Notre Dame now.
I'm all right in Notre Dame now because Brian Kelly's gone.
So
You're gonna make your
as far
pick,
as
Dan.
I was gonna say, as far as my pick goes, I'm gonna go with Green Bay as well. So far 3 games, and we all agree on all 3. Mike, you had mentioned Green Bay's defense, and yes, I'm impressed. They were dealing with a bunch of injuries early in the year. They're getting better at the right time. Actually, Justin Fields medically cleared to play, and he will actually start for Chicago in this one, and it couldn't have come at a better time because Andy Dalton has been the definition of mediocre these last 3 games. He threw 4 picks last
You're
week.
an asshole. Why do you talk shit about a man? What, you sit in your mom's basement. You scream for meatloaf every Wednesday night. Come on.
Every single week he's gotten worse.
Andy Dalton being mediocre is a lot better than Justin Fields.
Yeah, well, I'd rather take Justin Fields being mediocre because at least he's young and has hope to grow. This guy's done. His career's over. He's a backup, and it's over for his life. The 4 picks last week.
What is good about your life, Dan? Your life never even started.
You know
All
what?
right, next
My
up.
life is
What?
awesome because I'm here with you guys.
Dan, who'd you pick?
I went with Green Bay. And
All right.
And Mike, you went with the Packers too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Packers.
All right.
And Steve went with the Bears.
No, I went with the Packers.
Oh, okay. Next up, we're going to go the Saints at the Jets. The Jets are getting 6 points in this game. Risley, what do you think?
Hang on. Saints at Jets. Jets getting 6 points. Ooh, tough call here. Tell you what. Jets have not played bad football for the Jets in the last 3 weeks. I know they're bad, period. Saints are just, I mean, now you even got their coach, Sean, what's his last name? Peyton, crying and moaning and pissing and bitching about everything. I think the Saints are in disarray. They're on the road. I'm going to take the Jets and the 6 points in this game.
Damn it, Steve. So am I. The Saints are a mess. I mean, if Alvin Kamara comes back, they may have a shot. It's an outdoor game, dome team, but the Saints have actually played better on the road this year than they have at home. I think the Jets' defense makes just enough plays to at least cover this game. I think they could really win it, Coop.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna take a flyer on the Saints. I mean, if they can, they've got a good offensive line. You never know what the quarterback's going to do, Hill or whoever, or Simeon or who, so. But I like Peyton, the head coach, and I think he'll get them on track because they've just been up and down for like the whole season. You don't know who's showing up, but I think they beat the Jets.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, but Coop, do they beat them by 6 points?
I think so. I think so. And that's probably I'm taking a flyer on that. I just like the Saints. I like the Saints more than I like the Jets. And I like their offensive line. I like the defensive line. Their DBs. Their DBs stick
hey,
like
Coop. This isn't a freaking popularity contest. It's not who you like. It's who's going to win the game.
Saints.
Idiot football players. I swear to God.
Steve, will you quit harassing the guest? Dan, go ahead.
You got on before he came on and said, knock the crap out of him.
I did.
But he's a damn offensive guard. And he needs to have the crap beat into his head. That's the only way he produces.
That's right.
That's what I said. You've had your ass whipped more than Coop has. You played for Bobby Knight. Go ahead, Dan.
That was verbal.
You've probably been hitting the head more than he has just from Bobby Knight. Go ahead, Dan.
So we were telling a story. I was telling my wife a story the other day. The Knight was chewing my ass out royally. And you know how sometimes when you're yelling, Mike, as a coach, spit starts coming out of your mouth?
Yes.
He did that to me one time. I went right in my mouth.
Oh.
It was bad.
So, in some countries.
I started laughing. It was so bad, I just started laughing. And then he got mad at me because I was laughing and just said, sit your effing ass down.
Steve, in some countries, that entails you are now married to Coach Knight.
Oh, my God.
Go ahead, Dan. Steve's claim to fame is Bobby Knight spit in his mouth.
Gross. Normally, you got to pay for that sort of action.
Wasn't it practice, Steve?
No, this was in a game.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
All right. Well, actually, Kamara is off the injury report. He is going to be playing, and it looks like Taysom Hill is also going to be starting. So that helps New Orleans. My big question for their offense is they have both their offensive tackles are questionable this week. So if they're down to their third and fourth or fifth string tackles, could be a problem for them, especially with both their key guys in the backfield coming off injury. I hate this line because I think New Orleans inevitably wins this game, but I don't trust them at all to just take care of business, win by a touchdown or more. 6 is I'm going to take the Jets.
All right.
Would it be a
Let's
chicken
see.
shit, Dan?
Yeah, but that's what Dan is.
That's what Dan
Betting.net
is.
finds the best promotions, offers, and bonus codes so you don't have to. Head over to their website now to take advantage of things like free bets and matching deposits. Make sure you check out Betting.net. Next up, we've got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are favored by 9.5, Risley.
This is an easy one for me. I'm taking the Chiefs.
All right, Coop, what do you think?
The Chiefs are coming up. They're dialing it in.
They are.
Getting incrementally better each week, and the Raiders are just all over the map too. I think the luxury of getting rid of Gruden and their new assistant coach, is wearing off. That team's going to just in total disarray, and the Chiefs are just dialing it in, tick by tick every game. Sorry, Coop, go ahead.
Totally agree with you. No, I can't argue one thing you said. The defense is getting better. Mahomes looks like he's starting to, dial it in. If he could, get a little more accuracy and stop, throwing sidearm to everybody, I think, he's just so good. The guy is just so good. It's hard to bet against him. And I don't think the Raiders can handle Kelsey and here we go. The
Tyreek Hill.
Jitterbug wide receiver.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, Tyreek. I mean, unbelievable guy. So I'm taking Chiefs here.
Yeah, Mike, that's a great point. What do you do? Because I've noticed too, and I know as a quarterback coach and purveyor of quarterbacks that you are, and I mean that with all sincerity, Mahomes is throwing more sidearm than he is overhead now.
Yeah.
Is that a problem? Does somebody need to work him out of that?
Well, all I know is their points per game have dropped dramatically this season.
Yeah, since he started doing that.
So, and that was one of his issues coming out of Texas Tech. They sat him for a year. They got him a quarterbacks coach. They fixed it. But I don't know, because I think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs. I think they can be the number 1 seed. But right now, Coop, I think the offense for Kansas City is a much bigger concern than the defense is. The offense did not look good Sunday night.
The offense, they revamped that entire offensive line in the offseason, and I'll tell you what, they're not – he's running around like he did in the Super Bowl somewhat, right? He doesn't have a clean pocket, and I think it's made him a somewhat average quarterback, and I think they're doing some things to fix that, but not enough. I don't think that offensive line is strong enough, so he's on the run.
Well, and I think it's all muscle memory. And the problem is when things break down, you kind of revert back to what you've always done in a lot of cases, which is a lot of issues when changing a quarterback and the way he throws the ball.
Yeah, I think you see him throwing that sidearm when he's on the move a lot.
Yeah. But Dan, I know you like to throw sidearm when you're, throwing an Nerf ball to your mom in the bedroom. What do you like here? Las Vegas or Kansas City?
I'm going to go with KC on this one. They don't look now, but they're streaking. They have the second longest win streak behind the Patriots, tied with the Dolphins, won 5 in a row. Their defense, you guys said, is what's been a star of the show. Every week their defense comes through because their offense, for whatever reason, can't put up points. They can't run the ball right. They're not getting any deep plays downfield. Mahomes' magic is not happening. They got to get it together. I think they'll pick it up and they'll figure it out as things move along. When you have Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you got Andy Reid as your coach, you're not going to struggle like this forever. It's been ugly, but I think they'll be fine. More likely they'll be fine than this continues going into the playoffs. And Vegas played well last week, but they're on a downward spiral.
Damn, your answer is taking way too long to pick these games, Dan. We've warned you about this before. I'll speed it up. I'm going to take Kansas City also. Next up, Jacksonville at Tennessee. All started off. I'll go with Tennessee in the 9.5 points because Jacksonville's a mess, Dan.
Jacksonville is a mess, but I don't trust Tennessee. I really don't. I still don't. I don't know what it is about them. I don't know if it's their lack of a passing offense. I don't know if it's all the issues at running back or I think Freeman is their top back. They're getting the most carries now, and I don't know what it is about them. I don't trust them, even though they're 8-4. They've lost 2 games in a row. Maybe that doesn't help. But I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. I'm gonna do something a little different. I got to try to catch up. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. I think Tennessee
Steve.
wins, but by less than 10.
All right, Steve, you agree? Because the Titans have lost a couple in a row.
I'm gonna tell you what, 9.5 is a lot of points for a faltering Tennessee team. Man, this is a tougher pick than you think with that 9.5 points. Golly, games at Tennessee. Where is Derrick Henry in the picture, ready to come back? Still nowhere near.
He's not.
No, he's not. He's nowhere near.
Not coming back this year.
No, he'll be coming back, but it's over for the regular season.
Mike, I'm going to give you a shot at me here right now, and I'm going to take Jacksonville too in this. I think Tennessee will win the game, but 9.5 points. That's relying on Tannehill to have a bust-out game, a good game, and he's certainly capable of doing that, but he's kind of all over the map a little bit. And, they have not been a front runner in this league for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Unfortunately, the Colts dug such a hole, they can't catch them. I don't think so unless the Colts win out, and they're not going to do that with their schedule. So, but that doesn't matter about this pick. I'm going to go ahead and say Jacksonville is going to cover the spread. Not necessarily win the game, but cover the spread.
All right, I would like to say it equivalently. You're both morons. I'm going to take Tennessee. The Jaguars are basically a mess right now. Urban Meyer is acting like an NFL football coach. They have awful coaching. They have terrible misuse of personnel. I don't see any chance. I mean, look what the Rams did to them last week, and the Rams were struggling at that point too. I'm taking the Titans. This is the easiest pick of the week. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I'm 8-4, first in the AFC South. Fifth in rushing yards and total yards, 14th, and Jaguars are such a mess. I'm going with Tennessee.
All right, that was the adults picking the correct team, and the kids are missing. Next up, Baltimore at Cleveland, Risley. We got Cleveland as a 2.5-point favorite. Is that correct, Dan?
That is correct, sir.
All right, go ahead, Steve. This is a huge game because I think everybody in the AFC North is separated by like a half a game to a game.
What's the health situation with Cleveland right now, Danny?
I don't know. Look it up, Steve.
I only have one computer.
I'm looking at it right now, and nobody special is on it. I mean, Jarvis Landry didn't practice today, so he's questionable. I expect he'll be playing. If not, then that's real threatening for their passing game. On the flip side, guys, Baltimore is maybe the most injured team in the league. They just lost Marlon Humphrey on top of all the other devastating injuries they've had all year. Star corner, Marlon Humphrey, pectoral injury. He's on IR. He's probably done for the year. It's real threatening out there.
I'm going to go with Cleveland and give up the 2.5 points in this game.
All right, Coop.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cleveland too. I don't think the left tackle on the Ravens plays real tall, and I think Garrett's going to run all over him and get our boy out of the pocket. And even though they've got a better record, I think Cleveland. I like Cleveland. I like. I think they've just been undersold all year long, so I'm going to stick with Cleveland.
Well, I don't know if they've been undersold because every time it looks like they're going to get good, then half their offensive line goes down for a couple games. I think Cleveland is a huge contender if they get into the playoffs with that running game, and I think the defense is good. Lamar Jackson's been atrocious over the last month. We talk about Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson struggled a lot more than Patrick Mahomes is. I'm going to take the Browns here, Dan.
At the end of the day, guys, I just don't trust Baker Mayfield. I just don't. They're the most
Lamar
talented
Jackson.
team on.
All right.
I do trust Lamar Jackson because when there's chaos around Lamar Jackson, he has shown he can make plays. He's got to stop throwing picks, though. He's got to stop throwing picks.
Like he did against Cincinnati.
He's thrown one hideous pick in the last game. But let's not forget that this is another former MVP, and besides the Pittsburgh game where they only lost by a point, they had just beaten Cleveland the week before, held them to 10 points. Let's not act like the Browns are some, juggernaut.
Hey, you know what? Let's not act like the Pittsburgh Steelers are a juggernaut. They had a tie game. They got the brakes beat off them by Cincinnati, like 41-3 or something, the week before they played Baltimore. Baltimore only beat them by 1 point. To me, Pittsburgh only beat Baltimore by a point is not a selling point here. I think the Browns win this game. I think the Browns win this game easy. Next up, Atlanta. Wait, Coop, did you pick that game?
Yes,
Yeah,
said
he
Cleveland.
did. All right, Atlanta.
Dan, you take Baltimore?
I did.
Yeah, he did. He's
Idiot.
just falling farther behind. Oh, you're the moron that went with Dan and picked Jacksonville. Next up, Atlanta at Carolina.
Hey, you know what? I got games I can throw away, unlike the rest of you idiots.
Actually, you don't, Steve. You're only 2 games up, and I'm infinitely smarter than you and better looking. So eventually, I'm going to win anyways.
You're right on one of those 2 accounts.
I'm right on both of those accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Can you even spell account? All right, Falcons at Panthers.
ACCOUNT.
All right, Falcons at Panthers. Proud of you, Steve. Dan, who do you like here?
This is a hideous game. Both these teams are just awful. I'm going to go
Actually,
with Carolina.
the Falcons are firmly in the shot at a wild card, aren't they?
Yes. So are the Detroit Lions. The NFC is a joke.
Actually,
right
the Detroit Lions aren't.
now.
That's
The Detroit
just
Lions
stupid.
actually are numerically still in the hunt for the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's the-
but when you've got 1 win and you're 6 games back from the wild card spot,
my point,
6 games to
Mike,
go,
my
you're dead.
point is, you mentioned the Falcons are still in it for a wild card. Yeah, so are the Lions.
What's the
It doesn't
Falcons'
matter.
record? What's the Falcons' record?
They're 5-7.
Both are 5-7.
Which puts them a game out of a playoff spot. That's a lot different than what? 0-something or 1-something and 1 and being.
Listen, I'm not
6
making up the
games.
math. The math is what the math is. I'm just telling you what
Yeah.
it is. All right.
All right.
I'm going to go Carolina -3. They're not that much better than Atlanta, but I like their defense a little more. Even though McCaffrey's not playing, I think he's out for the rest of the year. They should be all right. I don't think Atlanta has enough to put enough points on the board.
All right, Mark.
I'm going with Carolina as well. Both these guys are 5-7. Both are pretty evenly matched. Both statistically, they kind of show up the same way. But Atlanta's just been, again, helter skelter. I mean, they have a great game and then they lose to who they shouldn't. So I'm just going to stick with Carolina on this one.
All right, Steve.
You know what? This is the 4th game you've made me pick from you, so screw you. You pick first for the next 4 games.
All right, I'll take the Atlanta Falcons. Why do you have to be such a whiny little bitch? I really don't pay attention to it.
Because
You're
I'm
the one
a
who
whiny
sits there and
little
actually,
bitch.
well, I've got all this extra stuff to play with. Why do you want to know what I'm going to pick? You're in first place.
Because
you're smarter
the-
than me, you said. So
No,
pick the
I
damn
said I'm
game.
one of the 2. And you're the self-professed guru genius of this show.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've said. I've said that repeatedly. I just said I'm not as
I mean,
stupid as
you
you.
put
Make your
that
pick.
propaganda on Twitter.
Do you want
left
to? I
and
didn't
right
put
every
any
damn
propaganda.
day.
Wait a second. What is propaganda if somebody writes something about me? I did not write it. You realize
You're
that, right?
paying everybody in the world to be on this show now except me.
I
so-
did what?
You're not getting paid either, Coop?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not getting a penny. Dan's getting paid.
Hey,
No,
Steve.
you're-
Steve, you
Yeah.
could do this. You could just be happy that you're relevant sometimes now, once a week.
Oh.
You know what, Mike? I wake up every morning happy.
There you go.
I look
Let
at
him
my
know,
wife of 37 years and I'm happy. I look at the fact that it was 82 degrees here today and I'm happy. You
You
know,
live in California? Are you
yeah, I
happy
live in
about
California and I'm happy. I haven't got shot
that? You
yet.
are?
You're in California?
Yeah.
And he's
How do
happy.
you like those taxes?
It's snowing out here. I'm disgusted.
Hey, come to
You're
Colorado.
not-
Come to Colorado.
He rents,
Yeah, I
Coop.
know.
You need to find him a house in a good American city.
I got it. Come
I
on
know.
out.
I came from Indianapolis. Okay, never mind, Mike. I'm going to take the Falcons.
So am I. So
All right.
we're even. So I wasn't trying to trick you, Steve.
No,
I just
I
don't
was going
really
to
pay
take the Falcons.
attention.
I already had the Falcons underlined.
All right, next up, we've got the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington football team. I like to call them the Redskins. But the Cowboys are favored by 4.5. They're a roller coaster. Washington, I'm going to go with Washington here, Dan.
You know what? Coincidentally, so am I. They're another team that's streaking. I think they've won 4 games in a row. As long as Heineke doesn't turn the ball over and they can keep playing defense like they've been and run the ball, that's a recipe for success, man. And Dallas, like you said, they're so up and down. Zeke is not quite right. He's in like a 60-40 split now with Tony Pollard. they might just give Tony Pollard the rock more moving forward. I think at this point, at least he looks like he's got more legs under him than Zeke does. But I like Washington in this one.
Yeah, and if Washington wins this game, I think they're a game out of first place in the NFC East, and they still have another game with the Cowboys in a couple weeks. Steve, who do you like here?
I talked to my buddy Randy. He's coming back. He said
he's coming back this week?
They think so. If they're going to clear him, he's ready to go, but they didn't know if he's going to clear him or not. But he wants to play. And he said nothing more than he loved punking on stupid, idiot little skinny guards. So, that's his favorite target.
He's talking about Randy Gregory, who he coached when he was in Pee Wee football.
I coached him in high school.
And now it was Pee Wee.
Hey, Mike, how many guys do you have are starting players in the NFL that you coached?
I've had about...
No, I have right now. How many do you have?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
I don't have any right now.
Then shut the hell up. I've got one.
Fuckhead, be quiet for a second, because...
Once again, I'm ahead of you.
If you want to go over the last 20 years, I've coached 19 and 5 CFL players. You coached one guy in Pee Wee basketball, or whatever it is, AAU basketball. That's not the same as actually coaching somebody who's in the NFL. You didn't coach him in football. Not in high school, Steve. Nobody would ever let you near a high school.
Yes, I did.
Oh, actually, one more note on the Washington.
You've been around Bobby Knight. They wouldn't let you be there just because they'd be afraid you would do what you were taught. Go ahead, Dan.
I'll say one more note on the Washington game is, Chase Young, we know, is already out with an ACL injury sustained earlier in the year, but Montez Sweat is on the COVID-19 list, and Logan Thomas, their tight end who just got back, is on IR.
So is Montez Sweat all right? He's not going to die, is he?
Doesn't say if he's dying. I really hope not, but he's just on the COVID list.
Hey, do you have the list of how many NFL players who are professional athletes have died from getting COVID yet? Do you want to update the number?
I think it's 0.
0? All right. That's in 2 years, too. So that's a pretty good number. So they better not let Montez Sweat play, because that could be really dangerous. All right. Mark, what do you think? Dallas at Washington.
This is a tough one.
It's a tough one.
I'm gonna take Washington based on the points. I think the Cowboys win, but not by much. I'm gonna stick with Washington here.
All right, guys. Right now, I want to remind you to find the best place to bet. Go to betting.net. They offer expert and user reviews for every online sportsbook and casino in your state. Check out betting.net. Next up, we've got Seattle.
No, I haven't picked yet.
Oh, yeah, you did. You picked Washington.
No, I did not.
Okay,
I did.
Pick Dallas then.
Huh?
Pick Dallas then.
Hey, Coop, I have friends that live in Denver. They live up in Golden, up in some gated community, up on the hill up there, over by Cherry Hill Golf Club.
No, somewhere 2 different places. Genesee, maybe.
What's the other one?
Genesee.
I don't know. I thought it was Cherry Hill. Well, he belonged to Cherry Hill, so I guess I just thought it was close.
Yeah, there's a couple gated ones by Cherry Hills.
Yeah, but he lives in Golden. Beautiful up there.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, you wake up in the morning, you see you look at the city, you can see Mile High Stadium.
Yeah.
What a great view. Cleanest view you've ever seen in a city in your life.
Did they blow up Mile High Stadium?
Years ago, they rebuilt Mile High to be, still Mile High, but they named it Empower, and now it's something else. So it's Empower now. It was some sports authority for a while.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. In its day, it had the coolest airport you'd have ever seen in your life. When it was first built, huh?
The old Stapleton.
Yeah, was that when they put the tents kind of up, the big triangles?
Oh, that's the new DIA way out east.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
But I've landed there several times. But what a neat airport.
Yeah.
And you think you'd freeze your ass off in the building. Right. It's warm and comfortable as hell. Anyway, Mike, I'm working on my Christmas presents for everybody this year. So I'm going to take the Cowboys and give up the 4.5 here. I think the Cowboys I agree with you, they're up and down, but I think they're going to have an up week. And everybody's going to be clicking this week. And I think that flat out Dallas is a better football team, although they have not shown it and played it lately. But I'm gonna go.
How about
Cowboys
this,
are
though?
gonna win this
I
one.
will say this. I think Ron Rivera and the job he's done in Washington is
Unbelievable, coach of the year.
greatly overlooked. I mean, including last year. He got him to the playoffs, and really, in the playoffs, the toughest anybody played Tampa Bay. I went Green Bay. I mean, Washington played him tough in that playoff game. And he's taken a guy that nobody thought was an NFL quality quarterback, and they're sitting there with a shot at the playoffs. Yeah.
No, they've done great things, and I think Rivera is a bona fide coach of the year candidate for what he's done with the Washington football team. And yeah, but I just think this week, Cowboys come to play this week.
All right, next up, the Seattle Seahawks at the Houston Texans. Seattle is favored by 7.5 points. I'll start it off because Steve whines like a little girl whenever I don't. I'm going to say the Seahawks, I'm going to give the 7.5 points. Against any other team in the NFL, I would probably take 7.5 points against the Seahawks. But Houston's a mess. They keep getting worse. I'm going to take Seattle here, Mark.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll go with Seattle. Russell Wilson's, I think, starting to play better. And basically what you just said, Houston's a nightmare. They've gotten rid of guys. They don't know what to do with their quarterback. They're 32nd in everything in the league. So I'm going to stick with Seattle.
All right, Dan, we'll let Risley go last since he's in first and more important than us.
I'm going to go
rotate him, Mike. It doesn't have to be every time.
No, I can't because you'll whine like a girl. Go ahead, Dan.
He'll whine like a Steve because that's what Steve does.
Yeah, he'll whine like a Steve. That's
Shut
what Steve
up, Dan.
does.
Sorry,
That's
Steve.
what
I
Dan said.
got to take my little jabs here and there. But no, I'm going to go Seattle as well. Jamal Adams was put on the IR with another shoulder injury. It's out for the rest of the year. It's a big hit on their defense. But Seattle seems to like to play and beat bad teams. Their 4 wins this season have come against, 2 against San Francisco.
And they beat the Colts.
They're not a bad team, but they're not quite right. The Colts earlier, I think the first week of the season, and I think they took care of Jacksonville in the middle of the season as well. And Houston is so bad. They're so bad on every side, every level of the football. It's just they can't get to the offseason quick enough. I'm going to go Seattle.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, Colts throttled the Texans. Texans couldn't do anything right. I mean, throw a pick on the very first play of the game and then a fumble on their next possession. Allow Jonathan Taylor. Well, pretty much every team in the league's allowing Jonathan Taylor to get 140 yards a game rushing right now. May have something to do with Jonathan Taylor. I don't know about that, but got to talk a little coach stuff since the Colts are having a bye week this week. But I'm definitely taking the Seahawks here.
All righty. Next up, the Detroit Lions at Coop's Denver Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 8, Coop. What do you think?
Yeah, these guys are so helter-skelter here, but I think they can beat them by more than 8. I think they can beat them in the 10 range. So I'm sticking with the Broncos. The Lions, you feel bad for them. They got 1 in a row, but the offensive line, has been kind of hit and miss. Bowles is back. The guards are marginal at best, and the right tackle is really a third stringer. So they've been putting Teddy on the run all year, but he's Teddy check down, so he'll check down enough to for these receivers to run on the Lions, I think.
All right, I'm gonna go with Detroit. I don't think they have a chance in hell of winning a game, but I think 8 points is a lot with the Denver team we've seen this year. They're all over the place. 1 week they're beating the Cowboys by 30. The next week they're getting beat by 30. I'm going to take the Lions here just because the Lions predominantly have been in almost every game they've played this season. They play hard for Campbell, but I'm going to take the 8 points in Denver or Detroit here. I do believe Denver wins, but I'm taking your Lions here, Dan.
You know what? For the second week in a row, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to go with Detroit on this one as well. But I'm going to take it a step further, and I think they can beat Denver.
Don't, Dan. Don't, Dan.
I'm saying it. I
Dan,
said
don't.
it.
Dan, they haven't won 2 games in a row since 1970.
I don't care. I'm saying it. I want to see it. And just because I said it, now they're going to lose by 40.
Yeah, but also since you said that now, it gets written down as you're picking Detroit to win straight up. Steve, what do you think? Detroit at Denver, Denver -8. You get to pick last again.
Altitude becomes an issue at this game for teams that don't play. Again, Dome Stadium team coming out, and potentially, I don't know what the weather's like in Denver, right? But that crisp cold air, the thin air, makes a difference in what you do if you're not conditioned for it. I'm gonna take the Broncos and give up the 8 points here. They're playing at home. They're still in the playoff fight, and these teams. It's not. It's kind of like how I feel about the Colts. I mean, yeah, 1 in a million chance, but it could happen. So that gives you some incentive. But I'm gonna take the Broncos here and give up the 8 points.
They have lost 3 or 4 games at home this year, Steve, with the altitude.
Well, then maybe there's time to even out the score and win one.
Actually, that means they've won just as many at home, too, so the score is even. Next up, the New York Giants at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers were the benefit of playing the Cincinnati Bengals, as Steve would call them, because they were last week, with the Joe Mixon fumble for a touchdown. Jamar Chase has a touchdown pass bounce off his hands, ends up being an interception, gives up 7 more points. The Giants have no offense. Their defense has been very good this year. I'll start this off because Steve gets mad if I don't.
No, stop it, okay? I made my point. It's over and done with.
And I'm making mine right now, Risley, so be quiet. I'm making the Chargers.
A methodical thing to do would be you go first this time, and then I go first, and then Coop goes first.
The rest of the year, I will go first. The rest of the year, I will go first for the entire show. Just
all right. Well, if you want to be a martyr and you want to hang that on your cap.
But you're the one that complained about it.
With the bald head underneath
You're the one that complained.
You flat out go ahead and do that.
I got 2 bald heads, Steve. You only got 1, 2.
Gross. Yeah.
That's TMI.
What?
Dan, you can hang up. Yeah, Dan, you can, or Dan, Coop, you can hang up whenever you want to.
Why?
You can see how this thing generates so quickly.
I told Coop what you were like.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Giants, Chargers.
Coop's gone.
Dan.
Oh, sorry, I was giggling. So with the Chargers, they've got a few guys on the IR COVID reserve list. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Chris Harris are all currently on the COVID list.
Wow.
That's really threatening for them. If those guys, if at least Williams and Keenan Allen don't play, they're going to be really, really thin at receiver. But honestly, I don't think it matters. I think the Giants are benching what's his face? Mike Glennon, I think they started last week. And they just signed this kid over from Buffalo's practice squad. Jake Fromm, I think is. Yeah, Jake Fromm.
Oh, from Georgia.
From Georgia. Yeah, so they just signed him, and I think he's going to start this week for him. So you could take that.
I think so, too. That's why I took the Chargers.
Yeah, you could take that for what it's worth. But even if those guys don't play for the Chargers, I'd still go with them over the Giants. But this is one of those games where, like, the Chargers could win, but they win by like a field goal or something because Herbert likes to suck at inopportune times at those stupid interceptions and pisses me off.
Oh, here we go with this sidebar.
But I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
All right, Steve.
Go Chargers.
I don't know. 10.5 points in this game scares me a lot. Just for the reasons that Danny said, but yeah, I'm going to take playing at home, and I'm going to take the Chargers in this one and give up the 10.5. Gutsy call, but I'm going to take it.
Yes, you made a gutsy call, Steve. Let's see, Mark, what do you think here?
I mean, the Giants are 26 in rushing yards, 26 in total offense. Chargers are like 5th. In 22nd rushing yards and 6th in pass total yards per game. Giants with Fromm, I got to stick with the Chargers.
All right, next up we've got the San Francisco.
Mike, who did you take?
I already picked a game, Steve. I don't have to vote. I don't have to tell you who I picked because
I'm just writing it down. Okay, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter why you asking, Steve.
I
took the Chargers.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we've got the 49ers going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Steve, we'll let you pick this one first.
49ers at the Bengals.
Yes.
What's the spread?
1 point.
1.
Giving up 1?
most even game of the.
The 49ers are favored by 1 point, Steve.
I'm taking the Bengals here.
All right,
They're playing at home. They're playing at
talk.
home. They're not a bad football team. They just had a bad run at the wrong time of the season, but they're capable of overcoming this, and they're still deeply in the hunt to win this thing and get a bye or get a division championship. They're not out of this at all in that division. So, yeah, I'm taking the Bengals.
All right, Coop, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Cincinnati as well. At home. Yeah.
All right, Dan?
For me, this is a tough one. I don't trust either of these teams. Cincinnati is the better team, and they should absolutely win this game. But Mixon's got questions if he's going to play this week. I think he'll play. Joe Burrow's got a finger problem where I think they showed a picture or a video or whatever of his finger in the last game. It was all swollen. I think it's pinky or something like that. It was all swollen and gross looking. It actually kept him out of practice today. So that's something to keep an eye on moving forward, because if he can't grip the football, he's not playing. So that'll be something to watch for. But San Francisco, if they're not able to run the ball, they can't lean on Jimmy. My big other question besides Burrow's finger, Mike, is Burrow going to stop throwing picks, man? It's ugly. It's getting ugly every week. You want to talk about Lamar Jackson? This kid is not this kid's throwing as many picks. It's not pretty.
I hate to tell you this, but I don't blame him when a ball bounces off a receiver's hands on 2 different occasions and the ball's picked off on balls that are thrown perfectly. He underthrew one in the corner. He threw 1 pick. All
it
I
happens
know
to
is
Mahomes
this.
every week.
Hey, you know what? This is the thing. Patrick Mahomes is also in his 4th year in the NFL, and you're comparing Joe Burrow, who's played just over 16 games now, to Patrick Mahomes. That should answer your question on how stupid what you just asked
I wasn't
was.
comparing him to Mahomes in terms of talent, because Mahomes is obviously eons better.
There's no way.
But I was comparing
Mahomes
them
is
in terms
better.
of. I was
There
comparing
is no
them in
way
terms of
Mahomes is
situation.
Hey,
He's way better.
I don't
You're the
wanna
only
hear
person
it.
who says
You're
that
a
besides
dumbass.
Burrow's family. You're so
Really?
confused, and I hate
You know
having
what?
a conversation with you.
You know what I hate having?
I
Is
hate it.
this.
It's the worst.
Joe Burrow sees a
Mark,
defense.
can you tell this guy something?
Jesus, you can't even shut your fucking mouth for 1 second to have a debate.
Look to the right of him.
Have you ever gone down to Broadmoor and played down there?
Yeah, excellent course.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
I've stayed there a couple times.
Oh, look! They put that back up on the wall.
What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, put that back up on the wall.
There's nothing up on that
That's
wall.
all we got. That's all that's got to be
There's
said
nothing
right
on
there.
that wall. No, I'm serious, though. When you look at Joe Burrow,
His toilet paper's got Bengal shit on it.
hey, you know what? The Bengals are toilet paper most of the time. But I will tell you this. I would take Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes in a minute. I'll take Joe Burrow over anybody in the NFL.
Oh, Mike, you
now.
can't make that
What
call.
leads the NFL in picks? You're confused.
You
You
can't.
do-
Mike,
wait. You know
that
Patrick
may be
Mahomes
the
is
stupidest
right
thing I've heard
behind
you
him.
say all year.
Whatever.
That you would take Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes.
You're
How about
That
this?
is
awful.
idiotically stupid.
Coop, do you remember when I caught a bunch of shit 6
Dan,
or so
shake
years
both of
ago?
our heads.
See, you
Take
can't
it,
shut
take it.
up. You're
No, because
fucking stupid.
I'm not going.
I mean,
That's
you run
absolute
your mouth.
stupidity. That's
The
stupidity to
stupidity
say
is
you would
this.
take
You don't know
Burrow
shit about
over
football.
Patrick Mahomes.
Hey,
Yeah,
put that
I
toilet
would.
paper back up on the wall.
Number one, when I look at this, what I do know is Joe Burrow is younger than Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is in a much better situation. Steve he's in detention. He's back now. Now, you're going to have to listen to me because I'll just mute you. All right? What I'm telling you is this. I've seen very few quarterbacks that can read a defense like he does and see the things he sees. Young quarterbacks have a tendency to make stupid mistakes. Patrick Mahomes still makes stupid mistakes. Patrick Mahomes has regressed over the last 2 to 3 years. I don't think anybody can debate that. So how can we sit here and tell me I'm wrong when we watch him?
Just this year.
He's
Last year
regressed.
he was a stud. He just had no tackles, and he ran around like
Okay, wait a second now. Wait a second. Because we all do realize Joe Burrow's offensive line is much worse than Kansas City's.
And that's what kills these quarterbacks.
There's nothing on the Bengal offensive line.
They got no offensive line, and they get freaking crippled.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I'm telling you.
Name all the first-time quarterbacks that. I mean, that's why half of them never makes the playoffs half of them don't stay in the league very long, and then the rest of them become backups because they get crushed and they get blown up, and their confidence everything is gone because they have no one to block for them.
But you do know this, though, and I know you know this, is guys like Peyton Manning, John Elway. I mean, Elway got beat up pretty good his first year. Of course, a lot of that was
he did because I was there.
That's why I said it. But if these damn guards would have just played better, y'all would have made the playoffs. What you did, and in Seattle, Seattle beat you 31-7.
Wild card. How about that?
31-7, Seattle, right? Was 83 your first year?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We got beat.
So, which Risley never got beat. He's got that ring. But when we look at this, I'm just telling you this. If you remember 6 or 7 years ago, Coop, you come on the show, I would tell people I didn't think Cam Newton was that good, and everybody gave me all kind of hell. Nobody gives me hell about that anymore. I mean, I'm just telling you, Patrick Mahomes is a special quarterback. So is Joe Burrow. Neither one of them's Tom Brady. But Tom Brady's 44, so I'll take the 24-year-old, Joe Burrow over Tom Brady.
I like him a lot.
Well, wait. This whole discussion, Mike, this whole discussion started with you taking Joe Burrow at 24 over, what is Mahomes' age? Is he 30 yet? No, he's not 30.
27.
26?
26.
The stupid comment you made wasn't taking Burrow over Brady.
You know what?
I think everybody in the league would do that. The stupid comment was saying you would take Burrow over Mahomes.
Right.
That's a stupid comment.
Steve, you know what's stupid? Is when you assume shit. And all you're doing is assuming things right now. So it's best to be quiet, because I'll tell you this, Patrick Mahomes over the next couple of years is going to lose his head coach. He's going to lose one or two of those big playmakers. The offensive line's already struggling right now. In the NFL, there's not many New England Patriots that make this last for a long time. In Cincinnati, you're dealing with a 12-year-old head coach is what's destroying this team.
Right. And you have Mike Brown. You have a stupid owner, a stupid general manager, a stupid coach that's been there longer than you've been a Bengals fan.
Huh?
They burned through more great quarterbacks than any pissant team in the NFL.
What are you talking about?
Kenny Anderson.
He was a pissant.
Dalton. Now Burrows are going to burn through Burrows.
Wait a second. So Kenny Anderson was a bad quarterback that they burned?
No, he was a great quarterback, but he was on a shit team.
Boomer.
He went to the Super Bowl.
Boomer Esiason.
Went to the Super
God,
Bowl.
yeah. Keep naming all the great quarterbacks that
went to Super
Cincinnati's
Bowl?
had. How many Super Bowl trophies are in Cincinnati?
No.
0.
So what's your point?
They can't. It's not going to happen. I guarantee you, Mahomes will win his second Super Bowl ring before Burrows ever gets his first. In Cincinnati.
How can you guarantee that? See, you're just talking out your ass.
Yeah, well, just like you, I learned from the best.
No, you didn't, because you're talking out your ass.
I learned from the best, Mike.
For me, the reason I brought Burrow up is because I wanted to see what Mike would say about Burrow and the team and the picks that he's thrown.
What I'll say is this. I mean, unless you watch the game, I never said shit about Patrick Mahomes' picks. All right? I did talk about Lamar Jackson's because Lamar Jackson's picks are different. All right? Lamar Jackson's picks are throws that he should not make against the coverages he's throwing against. The throws that Burrow makes and Mahomes makes, Mahomes is a technical, throwing the ball sidearm because he's being run out. Joe Burrow's because he's getting pressure, he's making the right read, and he threw the ball a little bit, the throw against the Chargers, back corner of the end zone, he short-armed the ball and didn't get it there. It was the right read. I don't mind the quarterback that makes the right read and throws a pick. I mind a NFL quarterback that doesn't make the right read and throws the pick. I don't see Burrow make too many bad reads. I see him make bad throws. The problem I have with a guy like Lamar Jackson is, and Cam Newton before, the majority of those interceptions are interceptions that are bad reads. That's what I'll give you. I mean, I don't think Mahomes reads a defense as good as Burrow. I don't think I've seen that many guys that have when you watch his all 22 film, whether it was in college or the NFL. Now, I think he could be a bust because he's in Cincinnati, which is one of the most hideous places in the NFL to be. And all three of you picked the Bengals, correct?
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I'm picking the Bengals in this game. The San Francisco 49ers are going to run the ball down their throat all day long. Kyle Shanahan's a good offensive coach. They're going to have a couple trick plays they're going to score off of. I think San Francisco wins this game by more than a touchdown because I think the big thing you're missing here is You got, is a Woozy out?
Give me 2 seconds. I'll let you know. Woozy is questionable with his foot injury.
He's probably not playing, is what I'm
Probably
told.
out.
Logan Wilson, who's one of the best young linebackers in football,
He's out.
is not going to play.
Yep.
I mean, Logan Wilson being out is the biggest loss this team could have outside of Joe Burrow being out. And when you look at the offensive line, how many offensive linemen are out this week?
1, 2, 3. 2 are questionable, and 1 is out.
Yeah, and the guys that they replaced
2 are
him with, Isaiah Prince, the right tackle. I guarantee you this. Steve asked the comment if Coop still played in the NFL. If Mark Cooper was to go to the Cincinnati Bengals, he could still play in the NFL because those are guys that don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're guys that can't even kick step. I mean, Isaiah Prince got beaten off the snap 99% of the time last week. He's pathetic. The 49ers will win this game, and they will win it easily. Next up, Buffalo at Tampa Bay.
Hey, Mike, I got a question. What would our friends at betting.net say, and what kind of prize would they want us to give away for people that listen to this show and pay attention to what we're talking about?
Right now, you can win a free jersey.
Okay.
That's a win.
That's a win.
But we will be giving things away, I am sure. But I don't know why it was brought up during the middle of the show. You just slowed my roll. All right, next up, Buffalo at Tampa Bay. Coop, who you like here? Tampa Bay is favored by 3. Buffalo has to be one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL this season.
I'm going to go with Tampa. Just too many weapons. Buffalo, man, I love Josh Allen. I mean, he was literally my favorite quarterback when they came out in the draft. Tough kid, went to Wyoming, played under conditions, same as Buffalo. Played in Wyoming with the wind and the weather and the snow and everything that goes with it. But you just there's so many weapons in Tampa Bay, and the defense. I think they got a right guard and a left tackle that I don't think. I think they're just Josh is going to be on the run this game, so I'm taking Tampa.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, I would agree with Coop big time. I think Tampa Bay is just too solid across the board right now, and they're just Brady's just dialing those guys in left and right. It's only a 3-point game. Buffalo is a victim of playing a pretty tough schedule, really. I mean, we didn't expect maybe for New England to be as good as they've turned out to be.
I did. I predicted them to make the playoffs.
Yeah, you did, Mike. Yes, you did.
And you know what? You called me a fool then, just like you did on my last one, and I was right.
No, I did not call you a fool for that.
Dan, did he not call me a fool?
Anytime Belichick is involved, there's no foolery going on there.
I don't think.
Anyway,
he didn't call you a fool, but I definitely questioned when you said
there's that, and and then for Buffalo to
when you said Mac
lose games like losing to the Colts at home was a monumental loss for them. That's a game they should have won. They should have won that game. That's a game they needed to win to keep them in the dogfight better than where they are. So, but I think it doesn't matter. Tampa Bay's pretty well unbeatable right now. That could change in a week, obviously. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay and give up to 3 points.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa Bay also. I think Buffalo has a hard time running the ball. I don't think their lines played as well this year. And they just lost to a team that threw the ball twice. Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay as well. It's a little curious for me that this line is only -3. I think Tampa Bay could very well win by, at the very least, a touchdown. My biggest questions with Buffalo is they looked so good in the early portion of the year, only losing, lost to Pittsburgh week 1. But other than that, they looked really good. Then they lost to Tennessee. And ever since that Tennessee loss, it's been loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And last week against the Patriots, I was a little disturbed by what I saw, guys, because this is supposed to be a team that was expected to win their division. This is supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. They were so close last year. They looked so good. And last week, they just looked anything but. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't run the ball. Yeah, the winds were gusting. So, the passing offense was thrown off. But so were the Patriots, and it didn't matter. I question this team when it comes to big games like this. And this is as big of a game as they're going to play for the rest of the year. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
All right, guys, that's all the games for the week. And I want to remind you, your top sports bet or sportsbook comparison site, Betty.net, offers extensive reviews on the best sports books out there. Dan, anything you want to discuss before we wrap it up? You got any questions about the 80s? Because all three of us lived through them. I would like to bring up the fact he was in the NFL. He played for IU. I was in junior high and high school.
I was born in the late 80s. Does that count as being around for the 80s?
No, you don't remember it, do you?
No, not at all. But actually, I want to say, so Mark, what was your favorite moment, if you have that, as a professional football player? What's something that stood out? I don't know, maybe like a player-to-player thing or a game or whatever.
Dan, let him answer the question.
Yeah, beating Cleveland in the AFC Championship game. That game was such a crazy dogfight. And, I mean, they were – it's funny because I was talking to a guy about this the other day. They were throwing batteries. They were throwing dog bones. They were throwing bottles. They were throwing – I mean, there was more shit on that field littered all over that field. You literally kept your head down in the huddle because stuff was bouncing off your helmet. And we had a timeout in the dog pound end zone, right? We're just getting littered. I mean, just littered. And I walked over to the ref and I go, hey, you going to call a penalty on these guys? You going to do something to slow this down? And he looks at me and he goes, do you think it'll slow down? And I start laughing. We both start laughing, right? I go, good point. He goes, yeah, get back in the huddle. Because our offensive line coach got hit with a Jack Daniels bottle after the game. I mean, it was mayhem. I mean, they told you to keep your helmet on the sidelines, right? And if you remember, Cleveland Stadium was a baseball field back in the day.
Yeah,
right?
Municipal Stadium.
Yeah, and I'm standing there, and I'm on the sideline that's as far away from anybody as you can see. I took my helmet off because I was sick of wearing it. So I took my helmet off, and I'm walking over. I grabbed something to drink, and I get hit in the face with an apple. And I was like, God, I looked up, and I gave the guy the heads up, a thumbs up, because I was like, anybody that could throw something that far and hit somebody, you had to give kudos, right? Because
and you got to figure apples are not needed in Cleveland if you've ever looked at the women that come from there.
But they were driving around our hotel room the night before, honking their horns all night long. I mean, you didn't get any sleep, right? And there was a bomb threat on the airplane when we were leaving. I mean, it was that's all. And that's the NFL back in the 80s was crazy. I mean, it was a gladiator sport. And then they painted the field. The field was dirt, and they painted it green. Right, the dirt's painted green, right? And it was a 13-degree night. It was cold as hell. People were crazy, and it was such a great game. But to win it like we won it, because they had put the trophy over in the Cleveland's locker room, right? And then we go into overtime, and they get the ball first, so they move the trophy. We stop and we kick a field goal that was marginal. When I was looking up from the bottom of the pile, I wasn't sure it made it, but it did, and it just everything erupted. It was crazy. But then having 2 weeks later going to Pasadena playing the New York Giants. Right, and coming away short that night. Talk about a high and a low within a 2-week period. That was crazy.
Crazy.
That Super Bowl was good for a half, though. Yeah,
no, we were in it. I mean, some things didn't go our way. We're on the 2-yard line and we run freaking toss. Right, we're in the huddle going, no, John, De Niro pinch. We had this Bert's in the middle. Bert's tiny little freaking nose guard. I mean, great player, but a tiny little nose guard. I mean, we had this trap play inside that we crushed people with, right? And for like Dan's calling toss, and you got Carson. You got LT on one side, and you got Banks on the other side, right? Oh, we're gonna run toss. I'm like, are you kidding me? Anyway, we're back now. We're on the 7, right? And we throw incomplete pass on 3rd down. We kick a field goal, and he misses it going into half.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that like a 19 or 20-yard field or 23-yard field goal or something? And it was the same guy that kicked it in Cleveland. I think it's because he didn't wear a damn shoe. I still don't understand the kickers that didn't wear shoes.
I didn't either. Yeah,
I remember watching Tony Franklin kick a 50-yard field goal in Philadelphia, and there was snow on the ground, and he's kicking barefooted.
Yeah, Carlos kicked barefoot his whole career everywhere. Guy played for like 17 years in the league. Barefoot.
Yeah. There's no bare. Who was the last barefoot kicker?
Carlos.
Was it Carlos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. If you guys watch Peyton Places, if you haven't watched it, watch it. They're great. But Carlos is in there kicking barefoot on Peyton Places, and that's a great show. You guys are all football nuts. If you haven't watched
I've watched it. It's on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, great show.
Fantastic.
All right. Anything else, Dan?
Yes. One more question for Mark. When you were playing, was there a player that you just absolutely hated going against for whatever reason?
Yeah, Howie Long.
Why
so Howie Long? Howie Long was a hand fighter. So when you went to grab him, he was grabbing your wrists, he's grabbing your arms, he's giving you a rip. He follows it with an arm bar. I mean, he was only 275, right? So if you got your hands on him, he was toast. But he was so quick off the ball. If you didn't get your hands on him, and he's hand fighting you the whole time. So we would give and go with our hands. We would window wipe him with our hands. So you had to do everything to get your hands on Howie, because he was always after your hands to keep your hands off of him, right? Because that's how he'd get past you. Plus he had a big old ass and big honcho legs, right? So he was one of those guys. Upper body wise, he wasn't a real strong dude. It was his legs and his ass getting around you, right? And he would never work down the middle of you. Never. He was always on the corner. Always on a corner. So I always had to slide with him, right? But he had this great rip move that was tight, tough to get. And then you go to the hip, and then he'd bring an arm bar. I mean, he was as tough guy to block.
Damn. That's awesome.
Anything else, Dan?
No.
Would you like to ask Steve Risley any questions?
I had a question. When you guys did an away game and you get on the plane to come home, do they serve alcohol on the plane?
Absolutely.
You guys can drink it.
Yeah. So coming home from Cleveland, funny story, coming home from Cleveland, Dan Reeves comes walking to the back of the plane, and he goes, John, there's like 300,000 people at the airport. We're getting home at like 4 a.m, right? He goes, you're going to have to talk. And we all started laughing. I mean, we're all busted out laughing because he's trashed. We're all drinking. We're all trashed. And John, I'm like, hey, some people are going to find a Happy Meal or some shit to give John something to eat, because he's got to go talk to these people, right? If you ever saw that speech, is like, he comes off the plane. Wow!
I always wondered if they were after a tough road game, if they just loaded up, brought the beverage cart out, and said, "Have at it, boys."
Crushed. Too funny.
That's
good
awesome
stuff. I mean, that the memories you can't. I mean, you go on and on with memories.
All right, Steve. Anything else?
Was there ever a time? I mean, you see it in the movies go on like that, but did you ever try? And I don't want to say hurt somebody, but take them out, get them out of the game, or double team with another of your tackle or something like that, or center, and say, "We got to get Long out of the game." Or using Long as an example, how can we just get him out of the game?
So Bosworth, we went after Bosworth big time.
Yeah.
Lester Hayes.
You're talking Brian Bosworth, right?
Yeah, Brian Bosworth. Yeah, we go after Bosworth like beyond. Actually, we had knockdown money back in those days. We called it knockdown money, right? And that money went into a kitty, so we'd have a big party at the end of the year. So we had knockdown money, we had knockout money, and we had put a guy. You don't want to say this, but you like Lester Hayes would like pin a receiver on the ground and scratch him in the eyes. I mean, Lester Hayes would do stupid crap. Right? We run G lead, right? And he stuttered a lot, right? So I remember I got after him one game and he just ran like a little girl, right? And I'm like, hey, Lester, what's wrong? And I'm mocking him because he would stutter, right? So use all the tactics you could use, right? Because he had guys that talk shit.
They put your ass in jail for that today, Mark.
I'll probably get trouble for telling the story.
So what you're saying is there was some truth to North Dallas 40.
Tons. That was the most realistic movie you ever saw.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was.
Dan, have you ever seen North Dallas 40?
I don't even know what that is.
Go watch it. God, with Mac Davis.
Wait a second. He hasn't seen Blazing Saddles yet, Mark.
Nick Nolte.
Hey, so the shooting up stuff, right? I'm shooting up his shoulder before the game and at halftime, right? And
well, we did that at IU when I was playing in '81.
Oh, be quiet, Steve. You played basketball. That's a women's sport. Go ahead, Mark.
I know.
Did you guys shoot stuff up from time to time?
Yep, we did.
Yeah. We call them the Kane brothers. We're going to see the Kane brothers, Mark Kane, xylocaine, and an anti-inflammatory steroid, right?
Yeah, so, we did the anti-inflammatory steroids. Yeah.
Yeah, you go see the Kane brothers right before the game and at halftime sometimes. And Reeves was telling me this story about a guy in Dallas who they hit with Demerol, almost killed the guy, but he'd taken so many beaners it kept his heart from stopping.
What?
Oh, that I won't name the team, but they're I won't name the team because a buddy of mine played for them, and I don't want to get in trouble. But they're back on the East Coast, and there was a lot of steel around their city somehow.
Oh, you're talking about the Eagles.
The Eagles, yeah.
A bowl of beaners, but they were just passing around the locker room. What's the next beaner?
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, Dan, you got if you're a football fan, you got to watch North Dallas 40 because I always wondered how accurate that movie was and how those guys were. How crazy.
Peter Gent, who was with the Cowboys for a
Yeah.
year, and he wrote the book. So it's kind of like Jim Bouton in his Ball 4 about the Yankees.
Yeah, but North Dallas 40, just a phenomenal movie to watch.
Yeah, go watch it. It's as close to the NFL.
Yeah,
hanging guys off balconies and doing stupid stuff, and
G.D. Sprawling trying to play Tom Landry.
Crazy. No,
it was actually similar to what college football was like too back in the 70s and 80s.
Well, there's some of that too.
Sounds like the Wild West, man.
Yeah,
it's so much calmer today. It's social media. Social media has closed everything down.
Oh yeah, you'd had a couple pictures of some things, and all of a sudden,
my buddies
Terry Bradshaw never existed.
We just laugh about the cell phone stuff and the Twitter and Instagram and all the crap that these guys are using. It's comical. I mean,
yeah, cell phones are the downfall of man.
Yep, they will be.
Yeah.
Well, camera phones are. Cell phones weren't bad. It's the camera phones that'll kill you.
Yeah. So Dan, don't send any pictures of your junk to anybody because it gets up in the cloud and everybody sees it.
I'll send a fax of it or something.
Yeah. Oh hell! All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap it up?
No, thank you, Mark.
For having me.
Yeah, Mark, thanks for coming. Anytime you want to come back, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, this is fun.
Anytime.
Yeah, Mark, we'll have to have you back for Super Bowl week. You can tell us some Super Bowl stories.
We'll do it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, guys. I want to remind you to check out betting.net, your top sportsbook comparison site. Betting.net offers extensive reviews on the best sportsbooks out there. Also, you can also hear us now on Amazon Audible, along with iHeartRadio, Spotify, over 350 different outlets now. Make sure you check out our Facebook page and the Grueling Truth jersey giveaway, which we'll be giving away on December the 13th, so it's a little about a week away. So for now, for Steve Risley, Mark Cooper, Dan Kornhauser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.